Hey everybody, it's Jimmy and Bill. So today what we're talking about is during the pandemic, everybody was moving from one place to the other because they were being able to do remote work.
Yep.
And a lot of people were moving to Texas, a lot of people were moving to Florida. So what we're going to talk about is the top US states people moved to in 2023.
Okay.
Yeah, we're in 2024 now, but where did everybody move and did they move back? And that's what we're going to talk about today, plus a lot more. We have other interesting topics to talk about, so watch this video till the end. And do me a favor, if you like these kind of videos, consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel. Hit the bell notification and give it a thumbs up. It's much appreciated. So let's get started. So Bill, Texas and Florida were the fastest growing states.
Yep.
So, so many people moved here and they're still moving here to Florida.
Yeah.
So according to the U.S. Census Bureau, the south of the nation, the most popular region, is the only region that have maintained population growth throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. Think about that one.
Yeah, that makes sense. Look at the climates.
So during the pandemic, places like New York and California lost people.
Mm-hmm.
And the people in the South gained people.
Yeah.
I guess people realize what's important. Nice weather.
Right. I mean, if you have the ability to remote work, why wouldn't you go down to a coastal state, beach? Yeah, I think I would get out of the snow.
The growth is largely attributed to the migration, with 706,266 people added via net domestic migration. 500,000 were added via international migration.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess a lot of people are moving into this country or walking into this country.
Yeah. I mean, we've always had that. This is not like it's some new surprise. I know that it's pretty popular right now to talk about it, sensationalized on the news, our border crossings and things like that, particularly during the pandemic.
Okay, we won't get into that side of it.
Oh, come on, we got to go a little political, add a little spice to the channel.
There'll be a lot of comments on the political side, trust me on that one. They say the West also grew in 2023. With 137,299 people added this year. However, the population of the Northeast, where I'm from,
Mm-hmm.
has continued to decline this year in 2023, with a net loss of 43,330 people.
Doesn't seem like a lot. 43,000 from the Northeast. That's
That's
a big section. Yeah.
It is worth noting that the number is much lower than that in the Northeast. Massive population loss in 2022 was down 216,576.
All right, that sounds more realistic. Okay. I was like, that number just didn't jive there for a second. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Overall, 42 states and the District of Columbia saw their population increase in 2022. However, the growth was significantly higher in some states versus others. It's true. Everybody was moving,
Of course.
Yeah. The pandemic, just caused people just to remote work and go to places that they could have a better quality of life.
Right, or be closer to family. Some people needed to move to help family too.
The U.S. migration is returning to pre-pandemic levels, and a drop in deaths are driving the nation's growth, said Chrisley Weidler, a demographicer, or whatever that is, in the population division at the Census Bureau. Well, deaths are dropping. All right, let's continue. Although birth rates decline was tempered by near 9% decrease. Wow. 9% decrease in deaths, but birth rates are declining like crazy. People are really not,
Right.
It has to do with real estate.
Well, some of it had to do, I think, with the pandemic. People were afraid to get pregnant because of the issues at the hospitals.
Yeah.
So, obviously stats are very, past. So it takes a while to get all that numbers put together. That coupled with now all of a sudden we've had this massive growth in equity on properties, and inflation rates have gone through the roof.
Yeah.
Which is putting extra burden on, people who, just on everybody really.
Yeah.
And then that decision to have children or more children is, people might have to put that on just put it on the table for a minute, just until everything stabilizes here, in the country, and, we get back to normal.
Yeah, it says although birth rates declined was, basically what we talked about, there's a lot of migration coming in. Largest population since 2018. So I guess California was the biggest loser in population by shedding 75,423 people. I guess a lot of people don't want to live in California.
I guess not. I don't know. I mean, there's some of the stuff that we've read recently and seen, and, coming out of California is a little
lot of people,
shocking.
A lot of people are, like, I keep seeing a lot of people moving from California to Florida, like movie stars, all that stuff, are moving to Florida. A lot of people are abandoning California.
Yeah.
But they're getting population, but they're getting a lot of population from people that migrated into the United States because they have a lot of benefits there,
Let's get into politics there.
All right, let's continue on California a little bit. California saw its first ever population decline in 2020 when the state imposed rigid lockdowns during COVID-19 pandemic. From January 2020 to July 2022, the state lost well over 500,000 people, with the number of residents leaving surpassed those moving in by almost 700,000.
Wow.
A lot of people. Think about it. Housing is expensive.
Yep.
Taxes are expensive. To start a business, from what I understand, is like really difficult there. They have a lot of rules.
Right.
I mean, they have rules for rules.
Right, yeah. They seem to be ruled to death over there. So, yeah, it makes sense. People were going to move somewhere else, especially with the rigid, as this article stated, with the, the rigid lockdown. Other places weren't as affected by COVID and had a little less stringent lockdown policies. So you were able to get outside, and not be so cooped up in the house.
Well, yeah, listen, I've been to California numerous times. I love California, not to live there, but it's a beautiful state. And everybody that leaves California said it's a beautiful state. It's probably one of those most beautiful states around, But if you make it so unaffordable for people, hey, if anybody watching this video is from California, tell us what you think. Go for it, Bill.
All right.
What does it say?
So in 2023, Hawaii lost 4,261. Illinois, 32,826. Louisiana, 14,274. New York, 101,984.
Louisiana lost?
Louisiana lost.
Oh, I thought they would have gained. Okay.
Yeah, Oregon was down 6,021. Pennsylvania, 10,408. And West Virginia, 3,964.
That's interesting in West Virginia, because West Virginia is such a cheap place to live, but I guess if there's no job, there's no jobs.
There's no jobs, right.
I mean, the coal stuff is a big coal state, right?
Yeah.
And, basically there's a war on coal, from what I understand. So maybe they're declining. I'm not going to get into that, but just I had to give it in. All right, what about states that are gaining?
Growth-wise, the top 10 states by numeric growth, 22 to 23. Down at the bottom, number 10 was Utah with 36,498 people. Colorado, 36,000. Virginia was 36,599. So a little closer here to Florida, we had Georgia came in at number 4 with 116,077. Florida came in at number 2 at 365,205. And number 1 was Texas.
Texas? I thought Texas beat Florida.
Texas beat Florida, 473,453.
So basically, during the pandemic, employees realized they no longer needed to live in cities where they worked, which created new opportunities for a flexible lifestyle, which is true, but that's changing now.
Right. Yeah, meaning the fact that employers are requiring employees to come back to the office.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I literally met somebody who bought a house here
Mm-hmm.
that I think they're from Jersey and their
Uh-huh.
company's from Jersey, and they said, no, you need to come back here. And they're quitting because they don't want to give up their job.
They're quitting. Yeah,
They're quitting the
the
job,
job
because they don't want to
wanna
sell
give
their
up their
house. Yeah.
Yeah.
But are you seeing a lot of that?
Yeah, we're starting to see that. It's even the lenders are kind of making sure that it's okay for people who do remote work. They're getting confirmation from their employers in some instances that they're allowed to do remote work.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had a couple customers of mine that was one of the contingencies to get approved for their loan.
Oh, wow. I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yep. It's because they weren't selling their home from up north, but they were still moving down here. But still, the ability to remote work and some of the permissions, some states had rules that they weren't allowing mortgages and stuff. It was a very weird situation. But it does happen. So it's just things to think about, when you're going into this.
And the article continues saying that a lot of people from the Northeast, New York and stuff, are still moving to Florida. And that's why we did a video saying New York turning into New York South.
South, right.
Because it seems like everybody we meet around here is from New York.
Yeah, I don't think that that's ever really changed, to be honest with you. But yeah, it does seem to be a little bit more prevalent now. But I mean, again, particularly, with like kind of how we deem everybody snowbirds, you're getting the best of both worlds. You still get the city or the New York lifestyle and the good weather up until it gets super cold, and then everybody comes down here. So, and you're taking advantage of our very, mild climate here in the winter. So it's the best of both worlds. So I completely understand it.
I don't think it's going to slow down. I think people are
No.
going to continue moving. I mean, we have a lot of boomerang buyers that people come here from the Northeast,
Yeah.
and they realize how freaking hot Florida gets.
Right.
Or they miss the food from New York, like me.
Yeah, I get that.
And so a lot of people do move here, and then they're like, all right, this is not cut out for me, because a lot of people come here with the mindset that it's going to be a continuous vacation. I came here with the mindset, like I had
Yeah.
a house here before I moved here permanently,
Mm-hmm.
and when we came down here, we'd go on the boat, we'd be in vacation mode. So now we're like, okay, let's move here full time. And what ended up happening was we're like, life got in the way, work got in the way,
Life happened.
We still go on the road. What's good about with us, we're lucky, is because we're going to be retiring soon,
Right.
so we could go back into the vacation mode.
Right.
But it's like,
But you're traveling out of the area now.
yeah, it's
Not where
funny,
you
like,
live.
like during New Year's, I'll travel outside, so I'll go to Georgia,
Yeah.
or Savannah, or I might even go to New York,
Exactly. Yeah.
to get away.
Right.
I'll do the opposite.
Yeah, you do the polar opposite. So, yeah, I just don't think things are going to change here that much when it comes to, people migrating forward. Look at all the building that's happening, all the new towns, new cities that are, were tiny little towns and now they're big booming towns. Wesley Chapel, Tarpon Springs, the population's grown a ton. Clearwater, still a lot of tourism in
Yeah, we just
Clearwater,
did a
but,
video on Clearwater
Yeah.
too. Check that one out. We did a video on Clearwater Beach. But yeah, I mean, like when you go first like to the Rocky Mountains and you see the mountains, you stare at them, how beautiful they are. But after you stare at them for a month, you're like, yeah, it's mountains.
Right.
You
get used to everything.
Yeah, so you get desensitized to it.
Yeah.
Like with the Gulf of Mexico, when I used to come back here for vacation, go on my boat, Gulf of Mexico, beautiful, look, it's green. Now I'm like, yeah, it's green,
I don't know, man. It's still tough for me to. The beach and the water is still, you could just stare at it. I don't know. But I do get what you mean. Like, sunsets are gorgeous.
I live
water's
closer
gorgeous,
to the
but-
water than you now, so I'm on
Yeah.
the water more than you.
Yeah, but I spent my whole life on that water. I don't know. Maybe it's just because
You
I
miss
grew up.
it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I grew up on the water, so
Yeah.
maybe it's a little bit different because it's more ingrained since I was born.
I love it, don't
You
get me
know.
wrong. That's the only reason I live here is for the fishing.
Yeah.
And the fishing, weather,
Yeah.
and the golf.
I'll put up with the heat.
Yeah, absolutely. That's today's video if you have nothing to add.
Nope, we're good.
Hey, do me a favor, consider subscribing. It really, really helps out the channel. It's greatly appreciated. Just consider it. Try it out and see if you like it. All right, thank you and have a great day, and we'll talk to you in the next one.
See you
Bye.
on the next video. Thanks.